My wife wants me to reject a job offer just because my ex works there. I started interviewing at different companies due to issues at my current job. My boss had been piling on more responsibilities without any sort of raise or promotion in sight. I was working late almost every night, missing out on time with my wife, Lisa, and our toddler, and for what? Just more stress and no recognition. My department was also super understaffed, which meant I was doing the work of like 3 people. I tried talking to my boss about it a few times, but all I got were empty promises and vague assurances that things would get better soon. So, I figured it was time to see what else was out there. Given my niche in the tech field, I wasn't too worried about finding openings, but I was a bit nervous about finding the right fit. I didn't want to jump from one crappy situation to another. Anyways, I got an interview with this one company that really caught my eye. They were doing some cutting-edge stuff in my field, and the job description sounded perfect. Plus, they were offering a salary that made my current one look like pocket change. So, I went into the interview feeling cautiously optimistic and everything was going pretty smoothly. They called my name, and I walked into the room. And there she was. Maria, my ex-girlfriend from 14 years ago. She was sitting at the end of the table, looking just like I remembered but more polished, more professional. It took me a second to process it because, really, what were the odds? We made eye contact, and I could tell she recognized me too. I tried to play it cool, giving her a nod and a polite smile. I didn't want to make it weird for everyone else in the room. So, we went through the introductions, and Maria didn't give anything away. It was all very professional. When it was her turn to ask questions, she kept it strictly business. We talked about my experience, my skills, the usual stuff. Honestly, it was a relief. She was professional, and it made the whole thing a lot less awkward. Maria and I actually met in college. We were together for 3 years, and it was great while it lasted. But then I decided I wanted to pursue further studies, and Maria wanted to settle down. So, we had the what are we doing with our lives talk, and decided to break up. It was really amicable, no drama. After the breakup, we decided to stay friends. It wasn't weird or anything at first because we genuinely liked each other's company. And yeah, there were some benefits involved. Neither of us was seeing anyone seriously, so it didn't feel like a big deal. We'd hang out, watch movies, grab dinner, and sometimes end up in bed together. It was comfortable and familiar, which I guess made it easy to keep going back to each other. That went on for about a year until I met Lisa. Meeting her was a game changer. She was vibrant, fun, and had this amazing energy that just drew me in. When things started getting serious with Lisa, I knew I had to be honest about my past with Maria. I told her everything, how we dated, why we broke up, and how we had stayed friends with benefits. Lisa wasn't too thrilled about it, which, looking back, I totally understand. It's not exactly the best thing to hear that your new boyfriend has been hooking up with his ex. She told me it bothered her, and I could see it made her uncomfortable. I really liked Lisa and didn't want to mess things up with her. So, I made the decision to cut off contact with Maria. It wasn't easy because Maria and I had a long history, but it was a no-brainer. I wanted to be with Lisa, and I knew that keeping Maria in my life would just complicate things. Anyways, I called Maria and explained everything. I told her that I had met someone special and that I needed to focus on my relationship with Lisa. Maria was confused at first, but she understood why I had to do it. She respected my decision, which made it a bit easier. We said our goodbyes, and that was it. We haven't spoken since then. So, I got the job offer from that company a week later. They were offering significantly more money than my current job, almost $80,000 more. The position was a middle management role, and Maria would be reporting directly to me. That part was a bit weird, but the money was hard to ignore. I mean, $80,000 more? It's not like those kinds of offers come around every day. The extra income would provide a lot more financial security for our family, especially with our toddler. Plus, the company had a great reputation, and the experience would be a big boost for my career. Now, here's where things got tricky. When I told Lisa about it, she reminded me about the promise I made years ago to cut ties with Maria. I had almost forgotten about it, but Lisa hadn't. She brought up how, back when we started dating, she had made it clear that my friendship with Maria bothered her. I stopped talking to Maria because I wanted things to work out with Lisa. She went on to explain that having Maria working directly under me would be too much. She said it wasn't about her being insecure but more about the promise and the history. I tried to assure her that I could keep things professional, but she pointed out that managing someone involves a lot of communication, decision-making, and sometimes even mentoring. All that would mean spending significant time together. And then there were the business trips. Lisa said it would be hard for her to not feel anxious every time I had to travel with Maria. She'd say, "What if you have to work late together? What if you're stuck in a hotel lobby because of bad Wi-Fi? What if you grab a drink after a long day?" I mean, she really went into every possible detail, painting these pictures of situations that could lead to something inappropriate. I totally got her point. It would be awkward. Really awkward. Lisa said she didn't want to feel like she was always wondering what was going on when I was away. She trusted me, but the whole scenario just didn't sit right with her. We talked about how it would look to others too. Office gossip is a thing, and having your ex as a direct report could raise eyebrows. People might talk, and Lisa didn't want to deal with that kind of drama. She felt it would put unnecessary strain on our relationship. I also had 2 other job offers on the table, but they weren't nearly as good. I had one offer from a mid-sized tech firm. They were willing to pay me about $60K less than Maria's company. The role was decent, but it didn't have the same growth potential. It felt like I would be moving sideways rather than up. Then there was the third offer, which was from a startup. This one was tricky. The startup had a lot of potential, but the compensation was really low, like $70K less. They promised equity and talked a lot about future growth, but I wasn't sure I wanted to gamble on something so uncertain. Lisa and I had multiple arguments about the job offer. Every time I brought up the job, Lisa would get this look on her face like she was uncomfortable, but it felt like she was blowing things way out of proportion. One night after dinner, I casually mentioned the job again and Lisa snapped. She said something like, "Are we really doing this again?" And it just went downhill from there. We spent hours going in circles. Lisa would list all the reasons why me working with Maria was a terrible idea, and I'd counter with all the reasons why it made sense career-wise. Really, it was just exhausting. We'd be fine for a few hours, and then something would trigger the whole thing again. Sometimes it was something I said, sometimes it was just Lisa stewing on it. Either way, it always ended in a fight. Then, Lisa did some digging into Maria's life. She got her hands on Maria's social media profiles and started scrolling. She found out that Maria had been married but got divorced a few years back. No kids, just her and her career. Lisa brought this up one night, saying something like, "Did you know Maria is divorced now? And she doesn't have kids." I was like, "Yeah, so?" But Lisa saw it as a big red flag. To her, it meant Maria might still be looking for something, or someone, to fill that void. I get it. Lisa was trying to protect our family, but it felt over the top. She even found out where Maria lived, her hobbies, and pretty much everything you could dig up online. She kept bringing up little things she discovered, like how Maria liked hiking, which I also enjoyed. She even mentioned how Maria had posted about being excited for a new chapter in her life, implying it could mean she was open to reconnecting with old flames. It felt like Lisa was connecting dots that weren't even there. Every time I tried to reassure her, it felt like she was just waiting for me to say the wrong thing. She'd nod and say she understood, but then a few hours later, she'd be back with more concerns. At one point, I remember thinking, is this job really worth all this drama? But then I'd think about the extra money and what it could mean for our family's future. It was such a tough spot to be in. I wanted to make the right choice for all of us, but it felt like whatever I did, someone was going to end up unhappy. I decided to talk to the hiring manager about the situation with Maria. I told him about Maria and how we dated a long time ago. I explained that my wife wasn't exactly thrilled about the idea of us working together, especially with me being Maria's manager. The manager just nodded along as I talked. I mean, he seemed pretty chill about the whole thing. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and said he appreciated my honesty. He told me that they really wanted me for the job and that they didn't see any issue with the situation. They trusted my professionalism and didn't think it would be a problem. I went back home that evening and told Lisa about the conversation. She looked really upset. She told me I should take the job from the second company, the one with the next highest offer. She said it would keep our peace and avoid any unnecessary stress in our relationship. I told her that she and our toddler meant everything to me. I said I'd never let anything, especially not an old fling with Maria, come between us. But Lisa cut me off, saying she didn't buy my everything means nothing talk. Lisa brought up every little thing from our past, like when I was still friends with Maria after we broke up. She said she felt like I never truly let go of that relationship. She was practically accusing me of still having feelings for Maria, which was ridiculous. I mean, I'm middle management for a reason. I don't mess around with my job. I manage people, and I do it well. There's no way I'd let any personal history get in the way of that. I told Lisa she needed to trust me to handle this like an adult. It's not like Maria and I would be making out in the break room or anything. Lisa finally started to come around, but she had to throw in her conditions. She didn't want me to talk to Maria outside of work at all. No texts, no calls, nothing. She was really firm about it, saying it made her uncomfortable. She also wanted full transparency. That meant every interaction with Maria at work had to be shared with Lisa. Every email, every meeting, every conversation. Lisa wanted to know everything. So, I agreed to her terms. I emphasized my commitment to our marriage, even though I thought the whole thing was a bit much. I promised to keep things strictly professional with Maria. No personal chats, no after-hours messages. Everything would be out in the open, and I would tell Lisa about any work-related contact with Maria. So, a few days ago, I got this LinkedIn message from Maria. She was super professional, just talking about some project she was working on and asking for my input. I immediately showed the message to Lisa. She appreciated that I came to her right away and seemed relieved that I was sticking to our agreement about transparency. Anyways, we talked about it, and she suggested that I keep all communication with Maria on LinkedIn. That way, there would be a clear boundary, and Lisa could feel comfortable knowing there wouldn't be any private messages or anything like that. So, I replied to Maria on LinkedIn, keeping it all professional. I thanked her for reaching out and gave her the information she needed for her project. I made sure to keep it short and to the point. I had planned to accept the job offer from Maria's company on Monday. I had a bit of hesitation, but the money was just too good to pass up. I went to my office on Friday, just like any other day, planning to call the other company during my lunch break. As soon as I settled in, my manager pulled me into a meeting room. I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary, maybe just a routine discussion about ongoing projects. But then, out of nowhere, my manager said he knew I was considering other offers and decided to match the one from Maria's company. I was honestly shocked. They were offering almost the same package, only $20,000 less, which wasn't a deal breaker considering the additional benefits they threw in. Plus, they promised me a promotion to a director position as soon as one opened up. I called Lisa immediately to share the news. She was thrilled. I could hear the relief in her voice, and it made me feel even better about the decision. Not having to work with Maria was a huge plus, and the financial security was almost the same. Also, I haven't blocked Maria and, honestly, I don't plan to. 14 years ago, I didn't block her, and I never contacted her once after deciding to go no contact. She's not a wacko like some people think. She totally respected my wishes and never messaged me during that time. I mean, I trust myself to keep my distance without being rude. Just because she's attractive and we had a history ages ago doesn't mean I need to go out of my way to block her and make her feel bad. That seems a bit over the top. It's not like she's been trying to interfere in my life or anything. So, yeah, I decided to stay with my current company. It was the best decision for both my career and my marriage. No more stress about managing Maria, and Lisa could breathe easy knowing I wasn't in an uncomfortable situation. Everything just fell into place perfectly.